Murder Drones, as you probably know, has gotten a new episode to its series. It has been 7 months since the previous episode, and it's been hyped up a lot. Does it really live up to all the hype that it is given? Today, I'm going to be ranking it in different groups, and then averaging those groups and seeing if that rank really matches its score I would give it. For example, I would rank it in animation, horror, comedy, etc., and then average all those scores out to get a final score, and then decide whether that actually matches the episode. The categories I will be ranking this episode in are animation, horror, comedy, characters, and the overall plot of the episode, along with the pacing. Now, before I get into that, which will include spoilers, I will first make a review of the episode spoiler-free. The episode's animation is stunning, there's more character development, Khan gets more character, and I apologize for calling him Tom in the last video. That's on me. So animation stunning, good character development, lots of good plot, very lore-packed. You should definitely go check it out. Anyway, here on out, there will be spoilers, so click off if you haven't seen the episode, and then go watch the episode, because it's really good. Anyway, the first category I will be ranking it in is animation, and I can already tell that the animation on this from the opening scene was going to be great. Everything looks cartoonish, yet everything is horrifying at the same time. It doesn't take anything away from the plot or story of the episode. I mean, look at this fight scene between the Absolute Solver / Sin and Nori and N. I mean, like, the choreography and whatever you would call it is just amazing. They also fixed their wings physics, which didn't make any sense in episode 5 and 6. Like, I understand, like, the animation perspective of it. Like, it's kind of hard to animate wing physics. Heck, I haven't even animated or tried to animate anything, and the stuff I have is, like, horrible. But just take this as a compliment. The wing physics, at least the wing physics given to Uzi, have definitely had a step up in this episode. So I'd give animation a 9 out of 10. It was really good, and I really enjoy watching the episode with this animation. So the animation is good, but what about the horror? I personally really like horror. I like it when the horror is actually genuine, though, because there's some things in movies in Hollywood that are just like, oh, I'm gonna go hide in this garage full of knives. That's gonna be so smart. And not only does Murder Drones not do this, they do it in a way where it's like genuinely smart, even though they still die. The comparison of the horror from the past 6 episodes and this episode, episode 7 takes the trophy by a mile. The scene when Doll dies is just great. Like the semi-scary jump scare, I don't know, I even jumped in my chair. Doesn't matter though, it was still really good. I do see a theme in this Murder Drones horror, and that is very gory, and honestly, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So overall, I'd give horror a 9 out of 10. It was really good, but it didn't make me jump in my chair, which isn't a big problem, just anything could have been better. Next, we will look at the comedy. Now, I can definitely tell they took some notes from the Amazing Digital Circus's comedy. Consider the next 2 clips. Now, the comedy in this is definitely better than some of the previous episodes. Like, the comedy from the first episode is very different from the comedy in the second episode. However, in the 7th episode, there's a lot of just casual comedy, nothing to, like, center onto the screen, just something you could pick up on your, like, 4th watch through. This line from the scientist at the beginning of the episode.
Holding strong, sir. Nah.
You can tell it's supposed to be a joke, and even if you don't know, it still doesn't take away anything from the story. Also, the comedy takes a big step in that it's not the main focus point of the episode or just certain scenes in general. A big problem with comedy TV shows or movies, especially in Hollywood, is that I don't find them funny because the comedy is either the main focus point of the story, in which case makes the story horrible, or the comedy is just not good. However, if you've watched my video on why indie animation is beating Disney, then you probably also know that indie animation is way different and way better than the junk that Hollywood is producing. So it doesn't exactly follow the norm when it comes to comedy. The comedy in episode 7 of Murder Drones isn't the main focus point, nor is it just not funny. It's casually funny, and you don't even have to pick up on it, you just vibe with it. And although you couldn't say the same thing about previous episodes of Murder Drones, episode 7 is all we're talking about right now, so I'm not even gonna mention that. So comedy gets a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good, and it's way better than the previous episodes. If you're enjoying the video so far, please consider subscribing. It can really boost my channel, and it'll help help me out a lot, thanks. Now onto the characters. Now I mentioned this a bit in my breakdown, but Khan, Uzi's dad, definitely got a lot more character in this episode, which I'm thankful for and didn't know that we actually needed because I completely forgot that Khan even existed. I even forgot his name was Khan. I thought it was Tom and that was like a new piece of information. His name is Khan. So I'm glad they added more character to his, well, character. Even if it's not that much character added, it's still character added, and I really hope we get to see more of Khan in the next episode. Now on to the N and Uzi relationship, or Newsy. Now I'm kind of glad that they got more time together, and I'm glad that they were able to explore that a bit more. However, they didn't explore it enough. I do also have to mention that it felt like Uzi didn't get that many voice lines. Like, sure, she was in the episode, but she was also like taken over by the Absolute Solver / Sin, so I don't think that really counts. However, this one scene kind of carries the score on characters because in the scene where N and Uzi are being separated in the hallway, here, I'll just let it play out for you. Now I personally really like stories with good characters. I mean, who doesn't? I've written plenty of my own characters for stories for like school or just for fun in general. My friends look at me weird whenever I do, but it's fine. My point is that I understand how hard it is to get scenes like this. Scenes like this, especially if you're just writing it, are really hard to get, and it's even harder to express this in a film, at least in a good way. So the fact that this scene just hits so differently from the rest is just a huge step in character development, especially for the relationship between N and Uzi. Anyway, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, which is Jay. A lot of people were hoping that Jay got a few more voice lines, but hey, she got one. That's good enough, isn't it? All jokes aside, however, I do wish that Jay got a bit more personality in this show in general, and especially in this episode. I mean, the only thing she did in this episode was say one voice line and then get hit by a bus. But it's fine, we still have episode 8 to improve on this, and it's not like it's a pilot episode or anything. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Mason's Digital Circus. You should have been better to Zooble. Overall, I give the characters a 9.1. Why not? The last but certainly not least category I'm going to rate is the plot of the entire episode, along with the pacing. There was a lot of lore and detail put into this episode, and the pacing did not slow down for any stragglers. I personally understood the plot of the episode on my first watch through. However, some of my friends were kind of confused and asked me questions, so I guess that says more. However, I'm not going to deduct too many points because of this, because it's not that big of a deal. You can just keep watching it over and over again. The very idea, the very story, the very plot behind this episode, however, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but nothing can be unironically a perfect 10 out of 10. So for the plot and pacing, I would give it a 9.6 out of 10. But what is the overall score of this episode? Well, I did the maths, and the overall score is 9.24 out of 10. Now let's take the score and put it side by side to the episode. Does it match? No, it doesn't. I'm bumping it up to an A for extra credit for making me laugh a couple times, or a 9.5 out of 10. Anyway, that's pretty much my review on the 7th episode of Murder Drones. If you like theory videos and want to see more breakdowns and theories on episode 7 and what might be in episode 8, consider subscribing like I suggested earlier, because it can really help you stay posted. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.